Bienvenue, welcome to Property Quorum, a meeting of minds, as it were, about the property industry, hopefully talking about trends, giving you ideas yourselves, and encouraging you to use your critical thinking to work out what's really going on and not take everybody's word for it, including ours. Just go out and do some research. But hopefully, we'll get you thinking and feeling. Oh my goodness, may I celebrate? We are fantastic. Our team property lawyer, Juliette Babulal from
Morning.
so good to see you, Juliette. So good to see you. And today we are talking about topics, one of which apparently, according to Silas, may have some popular opinions attached. We'll see. We shall see. Today's topic is: will 2026 really change the way we buy and sell homes? And of course, to start us off, as ever, Hamish McClay.
We do. Good morning, to everybody. I should say. I'd say good morning to Juliette and Silas and Gareth. So the rest of you, I should say good morning to as well. Yes, it's 2026. We're, believe it or not, that's the end of the first month, all but. And so if you're planning something for the first quarter, I hope you're well into what was going on. And something we all were looking forward to were changes. 2025 wasn't such a bright year in some respects, although property seemed to be able to sort of maintain an element. I think we had sort of something like 1.2 million transactions, and it's alleged. I don't know what the word is, but
Either will work. Either works for me.
There is a suggestion that there will be 1.2 million again this year, or something very, very similar. I actually think it might go up a bit, but I mean, that's only me and my thinking. But what we are hopeful of is, after certain things of last year, which were unsettling, the budget didn't help, nor either did the pulling away of the sort of guide for estate agents to actually sort of how to get their properties onto the market and get them on there effectively. So hopefully we can see a meeting of minds this year where people will agree to changes. Everything is there or in place. It's just a matter of actually getting around to doing it. But unfortunately, I think, and this is something we've been speaking about over a couple of days, and maybe Juliette can fill me in here, there does seem to be a shortage of property lawyers. Which basically, if you really want things to move and move effectively, we do need those property lawyers in as well. But everything that we do is a matter of collaboration. The more we can work together with each other to find the best way forward, the better the results are actually sort of going to be, rather than a big focus on, I'm very good at software, this will solve everything. People solve everything. Ultimately, it's the people that we want to rely on that are important. So don't forget that many people say, oh, AI, great, we can streamline our workforce. No, you don't. You get AI, you understand AI, but you keep your workforce.
Wonderful. While I've got you here, Juliette, welcome back to the show. It's great to see you again. 2026, does this herald as Hamish moots a huge rise or a large rise in transaction this year?
Yeah, I think what we've got is a wiser consumer, and I'm actually really happy about that. You've got so much information out there. You know, you've got a variety of websites, for example, that people are now educating themselves, you know, so you no longer have a seller who doesn't realize, well, actually, this is a buy-to-let property and it's subject to capital gains tax. They're doing their homework, which is actually, from a solicitor's perspective, it's quite a good thing, because when people come to me, they've got the foundational knowledge. Although I'm here to handhold, and you know, just sort of say, I don't think there's a shortage of property lawyers. There might be a shortage of ones that are available for a particular transaction, and I think that's really important. You as a consumer, when you talk about collaboration, and we discussed this a couple of weeks ago, Hamish, you know, I think you are your biggest collaborator. You're investing in this project. You're the one standing to lose more than anyone else, whether it's time, money, And so you've got to work out what you want to achieve and who are the best collaborators for that job. So just whether it's buying or selling, I think for me, in terms of what I'm seeing in the changes, it's not so much in the numbers, because the numbers are there. I think you've got a more or a wiser consumer that's coming forth, whether it's a seller or buyer, and that's always a good thing to see.
So may I ask you, Julia, is a better instructed solicitor one that works faster or gets the results quicker, or does that have no real bearing?
See, I think that the proof is in the pudding, because I can sell you, I can do it really fast, really, really efficiently, and really cheaply. But it's not until you're involved in the transaction. And unfortunately, it's not until you're sort of way down the line that you realize, actually, did this solicitor sell me just some marketing hype and not really able to deliver? And so I would say, do your research. Again, get some referrals, speak to people that they've used. There are websites, there's Glassdoor, there's other websites that you can go on and vet a solicitor and work out whether or not they can deliver. And that, I think, is really important. So don't just trust. If you were to go to Boots and you were to buy a night cream, you do your research. You'd look at that and work out, what are the reviews? And there's too much information now in terms of reviews on professionals, whether it's with their professional bodies or their law firm or other consumers that have used them, for you not to look at that before deciding. I mean, the other thing is, go to a few of them, have chats with them, have 20-minute, people will normally have a free 20-minute chat with you, and work out which of these professionals, which of these lawyers your personality works best with. So you realize, look, this is a long-term, it's about longevity. It's never about a fly-by-night relationship and after this transaction, I'm going to finish with you. Because the reality is, if problems crop up, you want that solicitor to be on your side. If you realize that the seller has misrepresented things to you, you want to be able to pick up the phone, speak to that solicitor and say, can we get it done? Not just a solicitor who's going to say, well, actually, my instruction's finished, go away now. And you've got a problem to deal with on your own. So that is also important, and I think that's more important in terms of working out whether there's a synergy in your personality than actual costs and speed.
Thank you, Silas. Welcome to the show. So it seems that vet your experts, says Juliet.
I think I completely agree with what Juliet has outlined here, and I would say Juliet is probably the exception, not the norm in the conveyancing world, and I mean that with a whole lot of love and respect. One of the things that I'm seeing more and more is the push for agents and consumers to get transactions done quickly, and the market not necessarily responding to that in terms of fees. Now, the one elephant in the room that will affect the reform of the home buying and selling process in England and Wales, which people aren't really addressing, is this insidious practice of referral fees. And I would call for an outright ban on referral fees. The reason being, where a solicitor charges, say, for an average conveyance, say £1,200 as an average fee, they may be paying £400 or £500 of that fee to an agent for the introduction. Now, if they're working on a 20% profit margin, for example, all their profit has just disappeared to the estate agent's bank account, and there is very little incentive for the solicitor to then fast track the transaction. As I say, I'm not talking about Juliet in this instance. I'm talking in generalities here, that this is what we're seeing impact the market. And so you've got clients that are in chains. There is one or two solicitors within that chain who unfortunately aren't responding. They're not picking up the phone. They're not responding to emails. There's delays. And frankly, I can see why, because the business model of conveyancing, it's very, very high risk for the conveyancers. It carries a huge premium as far as the PI insurance is concerned. And it's also incredibly stressful. I mean, there were some reports around 2021 of something like 13% of all conveyancers left the market because it was so stressful, changing from working in an office to working from home. The systems and infrastructures weren't there. I think it was in 2023, then 450 law firms stopped doing conveyancing altogether. And so that points to me that the business model around conveyancing for the average conveyancing firm fundamentally doesn't work. And that's why I think we need to ban referral fees. In my estimation, that will return about 400 million a year in revenues to law firm coffers, which will allow them to reinvest in better training, better upskilling, better technology, and really help and promote a fast track of conveyancing models. Every conveyancer that I speak to about housing market reform, who has been approached by other people like me, all want conveyancers to earn less, because they just want a percentage of the transaction. And I'm probably the rarest breed of all saying we need to pay conveyancers more. We really do, if we're going to solve this bottleneck. And one of the quickest and easiest ways to do that is via referral fees. Now, that's unpopular with estate agents, because I had one of the biggest estate agents in the country say to me, estate agency is the break even, referral fees are the profit margin. And if your core business model of estate agency doesn't work, I would suggest that there's a major problem.
Silas, is that much the same way as in the States? People, servers get paid a minimum wage and they make all their money based on tips. Oh, is that the same model they're adopting?
It's a good parallel, Gareth. It's a good parallel, yes. And it really shouldn't be that way. As an estate agent, you have a massive responsibility, which many people I don't think take seriously enough. Your ability to negotiate for your clients to get an extra 5, 10, 15, 20,000 pounds out of that potential buyer or more makes a massive difference on what they will carry forward on their next mortgage, the house that they're able to buy, the fact that they're going to move into that property for the next 20 years of their life is a massive deal. And I don't think that's being treated seriously enough by estate agents themselves or consumers. And so we need more appropriate negotiators, more upskilled professionals operating in the industry, not this race to the bottom, bargain basement, sort of online or self-employed models that you've got people coming into the industry. They've never sold a house before, and they're running around telling everybody that they can get you the best price they can for the house. And the whole model doesn't work. And this is not just my words. I'm very passionate about this. This has been backed up by the Times, by Which. They've researched over 500,000 transactions and found this overvaluing model that estate agents use leaves consumers £25,000 worse off at the end of their transaction. That's all backed up with facts. So I think that there's major reform needed, but a lot of people are not looking in the right areas. They're heralding AI as a fast-track conveyancing model, but that doesn't work if your conveyancing firm is paying 25, 30, 40% of their fee out in referral fees. I just can't see it.
Juliet, I need to come back to you on this. First of all, what's your thoughts about AI within the property market? Because it worries me that it may be democratizing a lot of it, but it's also vanillaizing it. It's making it so everybody sounds bleeding the same. And the other thing is this, as Silas was talking about, the fact that the market seems to be in greater or lesser extent reliant on what is effectively brown envelopes full of cash.
Yeah, I mean, it's twofold, and I'll touch on the second one first. I do think that if you're taking referral fees and, it's going to affect your ability to give a proper service, you're first and foremost, as far as sort of solicitors are concerned. So you've got solicitors regulated by the SRA, which is the Solicitors Regulation Authority, but then you've got other people, you've got legal executives, you've got conveyancers, and their regulatory bodies are completely different. So if it's a numbers game as opposed to a quality and what service you're outlaying, then yes, I mean, I think what Silas has said is completely refreshing, and I love the fact that you've said that, because I deal with not so much estate agents but brokers that broker deals, and it's all about speed. And so what I look at as a solicitor is that I'm on the hook for 6 years after a transaction's finished, and the broker or the estate agent gets their fees, and that they call it a day at that point. So it's a numbers game, and it's also a social game. These people are living lifestyles way above what they can afford, and so for them it's push, 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 and there's no morality, no ethics, no accountability, and that's a problem in the industry. It's not accountable. And so when you've got associations like the FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority, more has to be done in terms of putting policies in place to ensure that people are, that there is a balance. So yes, fine, you want a referral fee, but at the end of the day, it can't have the knock-on effect that Silas is talking about, and that is what is happening. I mean, I tend to steer clear from that. So in terms of having that knowledge, personally, I will never compromise quality over fees, but it does happen, and there's a lot of pressure. And just in terms of AI, I mean, AI for us, it's it's a very helpful tool. But when you're taking ChatGPT and you are using the cheap version that you can pay £40 or whatever the app is,
Right.
that's your problem. You've got to get a specialist AI tool that's built for your industry. I can't go, we spoke about 2 lawyers who went on AI. They got 2 cases, went to court, and those cases never even existed. So
Right.
they didn't even have the wherewithal to go on Google and check, cross-check those cases and say, well, actually, what's the case about? They cited those in their arguments, and a judge said, well, where are those cases? And they actually got debarred, these 2 lawyers, from my understanding, because it's quite a serious offense. So if you use AI, you need the proper training, and you need to know how to use AI properly. It's not just about going on ChatGPT, putting in your question. I mean, a generic question, absolutely. But if it's specialist, so for example, if I need a specialist reply or some advice or some guidance, there are specialist legal AI tools that I can use that you invest in that are quite expensive, not your average ChatGPT. And that's something that needs to be, you need to be aware of. Again, personal decisions, or looking at, if you go to a surgeon and a surgeon looks at a case, you expect, depending on what you pay for that fee, to have a really bespoke outline of what is necessary to deal with your condition. AI isn't going to do that. And we were at that conference, Hamish, and the AI specialist actually said the problem with AI likes to please. So if you couch your question in a certain way, it's going to reply in a way that tries to please you, and it isn't necessarily going to be the correct response. And if you haven't got the wherewithal or the knowledge or, the expertise to discern that answer isn't actually correct, then you're not one who should be using AI or reliant on it.
I think I want an AI that bites back and tells me when I'm being a damn fool. But we don't think we're going to get that for a while. Hamish, it seems to me that the market will never be one that you can easily navigate until it's not dependent on the passing of backslaps and tips, as it were.
Well, that's very, very true. I mean, one of the sad aspects is this situation arises. It's not limited to the property sector. It sort of happens sort of elsewhere as well, because somebody recommends you give them a sort of a good hand back, whatever it sort of may be, and you're positioning yourself to recommend that particular person because of what you're receiving back from them, not because of the performance. And this is one of the great things about the opportunity to meet people like Juliet, people like Zara, who we sort of see occasionally, who was with us sort of earlier this week, because we know people like that are really going to take time out to investigate what needs to be done and work on behalf of their client. Now, unfortunately, what we have actually sort of seen, and the big problem is, and as Silas has actually sort of mentioned as well, when these and some of them quite significant sort of kickbacks as well, when you look at that, it puts the onus then on the solicitor, on the conveyancer, to push volume, because you're not making the profit that you need to make. The only way you can actually do that is actually sort of push up volume, which in itself actually will slow things down, because you don't have the time to finish one and finish the next and get on with whatever you're going to do. So there's sort of twofold. And then on top of that, you do have corporate providers. And I don't know, I mean, I haven't got as far in, I'm reading some information that Silas has put together on behalf of the industry. I'm only part way through because it is quite significant but one of the particular other aspects which said us, as well as those solicitors being under pressure from that front end with referral fees, there is another sad impact that certain corporate providers are putting pressure on them as well to buy a particular sort of way, to get their data from particular sort of directions, and actually imposing upon them financial pressure if they don't go down a particular route. So that solicitor, not only are they under pressure with volume, they're under pressure because they have to use products which they wouldn't necessarily use, or data they wouldn't necessarily want to use themselves given the opportunity. So those solicited under pressure from both directions, which is why I think we are in a position now. And it's interesting, if you speak to those that understand what is going on now, there is an understanding beginning to break through that you cannot rely on the system the way it was, the data the way it was, the way the whole situation is being handled. And basically the provision of AI, the great experts with all of their sort of work with sort of IT, that it's in itself is a great contributing factor. And if we can use that with the right people, it does make a significant difference and actually keep that sort of flow moving.
I just want to say thank you very much for our new subscribers and viewers. I see there's a whole bunch of you with us. Thank you for taking the time out. We do this weekly. It's often a bun fight where we talk about something that really people should be talking about more. Thank you for Silas for the added drama today. We lost Juliet Babulala, our tame legal eagle. She was literally outside court and took the time out to be with us. That was lovely. But as both Silas, Hamish, and Juliet have said, I think there's got to be some fundamental root and branch change to the way in which the property market is transacted, especially at the conveyancing end, before people will start believing it. And I do believe that unless you'll be careful with your AI tools and prompt it well enough, not just a one-line prompt, give me this, then without context, you end up with, as she says, as Juliet said, cases that are fantasized because ChatGPT and the other AI tend to want to please. So, as I said earlier, it was an amusing side, but I think I do mean it. I want an AI that bats back and tells me when I'm being a damn fool. I don't want it just to say, yes, anything you like, Mazza. We don't want any of that. We want people to be supporting people and AI to be the tool that it really is. Thank you so much, Hamish McClay, as ever. The person who really started all these podcasts. There are a number of them throughout the week. They start on Tuesday, and every day there is a different property podcast. Please do check them out. Do check out Cladding Matters tomorrow at 1 o'clock. It should be very interesting. We are fighting for the rights for people to get buildings that don't necessarily burn them down. So do check that out. Thank you so much, Silas J. Your expertise and thoughts on this are quite crucial, I think. We've just had a comment from Erkan Mehmet to whole system needs education for the public and efficiency drives for practitioners. Well, absolutely. Never was a true word spoken. Thank you, Erkan. Please subscribe to the Spilling the Property channel on YouTube, and you'll get all the culmination, all the different podcasts. And if you want to watch us live on this one, which is the Property Quorum, then please just join us every Thursday at 10 o'clock or thereabouts, and you'll hear more opinions being espoused, some which you'll agree with, some which you won't. And we love your input on them all. Until next week, keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars, and for goodness sake, in these troubled times, try and look after that mental health. Bye-bye now.